Alex,
Recording.
for
So I'd like to welcome you all to our lunch club today, again hosted by Lou, where we'll be covering some DC national parks and sites. Thank you so much, Lou, for coming on, and thanks so much for presenting. I look forward to the trivia.
well, Alex, thank you so much for putting this together. You always do such a fabulous job with these slides, far surpassing what my skills can do. Uh, First off, I want to thank everybody for their participation, and I'm so happy we have a follow-up because I don't think we covered enough last week in the national parks and around the national capital area because there's just so darn many of them. So couldn't be happier that we got this follow-up. So let's get into it. Here we go. So what is
Unknown caller.
Uh-oh,
Somebody's phone,
someone's phone.
not mine.
Not mine.
It wasn't me.
So let's get in a little bit about the history of Washington, D.C. I wonder how much of this you all know. I bet there's some hidden secrets in here. Let's find out.
Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States. Located between Virginia and Maryland on the north bank of the Potomac River, the city is home to all three branches of the federal government, as well as the White House, the Supreme Court, and the Capitol Building. Washington had an estimated population of 700,000 as of July 2018, making it the 20th most populous city in the United States. It was founded in 1791 and named after President George Washington. Columbia, in District of Columbia, refers to Christopher Columbus. Washington, the District of Columbia, is not a state, nor is it a part of any state. It is a unique federal district created specifically to be the seat of government. From the very beginning, it was a city that was steeped in history and created out of a need to establish a central location for the running of the government. The history of Washington, D.C. is tied to its role as the capital of the United States. Various tribes of the Algonquian-speaking Piscataway people inhabited the lands around the Potomac River when the Europeans first visited the area in the early 17th century. One group, known as the Nacotchtank, maintained settlements around the Anacostia River within the present-day District of Columbia. The site of the District of Columbia along the Potomac River was first selected by President George Washington. The city was officially founded in 1790 after both Maryland and Virginia ceded land to this new district to be distinct and distinguished from the rest of the states. To design the city, in 1791, George Washington appointed Pierre Charles L'Enfant to devise a plan for the new city in which the federal territory would lay between the northeast shore of the Potomac River and the northwest shore of the Potomac's eastern branch. He planned a grid system, at which the center would be the Capitol building. Progress was slow, but the U.S. government moved to Washington in 1800. In 1802, Robert Brent was appointed the first mayor of Washington. However, a decade later, because of the war with Britain, the city came under attack in an episode known as the Burning of Washington. British forces burned several buildings, including the White House. Most government buildings were repaired quickly. However, the Capitol was largely under construction at the time and was not completed in its current form until the late 1800s. In the early and mid-19th century, Washington, D.C. continued to grow. A rail line from Baltimore to Washington was opened in 1835. However, there was racial tension in the growing city. There were many slaves in Washington as well as free blacks. The tension erupted in the Snow Riot of 1835 when whites attacked blacks. Washington remained a small city of a few thousand residents, virtually deserted during the summertime until the outbreak of the Civil War in 1861. President Abraham Lincoln created the Army of the Potomac to defend the federal capital, and thousands of soldiers came to the area. A year later, slavery was abolished throughout the district, 8 months before Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. The city became a popular place for freed slaves. The significant expansion of the federal government to administer the war and its legacies led to notable growth in the city's population, doubled to 132,000 in 1870. Life in Washington, D.C. improved in the late 19th century. President Grant appointed Alexander Robe Shepard to authorize large-scale projects that greatly modernized Washington. It was the first city in the nation to undergo urban renewal projects as part of the City Beautiful movement in the early 1900s. In the early 20th, the McMillan Plan was drawn up to remove many of the slums that surrounded the capital, replacing them with new public monuments and government buildings. Washington, D.C., however, remained deeply divided along racial lines. Violence broke out in cities across the country again. Whites, including uniformed sailors and soldiers, attacked blacks during Red Summer. Woodrow Wilson gave a voice in world affairs throughout the country's entry into World War I in 1917, and through his work to establish the League of Nations, an organization promoting international cooperation. After the war, civic pride and culture flooded the city. Art galleries, museums, and concert halls were built. Like the rest of the country, Washington, D.C. suffered in the Depression of the 1930s. At the same time, the city's population grew rapidly with the creation of additional federal agencies under the New Deal programs of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, during which most of the Federal Triangle buildings were constructed. World War II brought further population increases and a significant housing shortage, as existing residents were urged to rent rooms to the influx of federal staffers who arrived from throughout the country. In 1957, Washington became the first major city in the nation with a majority African American population. With the buildup of government and defense industries during World War II, many new residents found jobs. In the post-war years, whites who were better established economically began to move to newer housing in adjoining states in the suburbanation movement that occurred around most major cities. In 1963, Washington took center stage in the civil rights movement with the March on Washington, where Dr. Martin Luther King delivered his historic "I Have a Dream" speech. However, following the assassination of King on April 4, 1968, in Memphis, Washington was devastated by the riots. The civil unrest drove many whites and middle-class blacks to move out of the city core. Despite riots and civil unrest, Washington, D.C. continued to develop during the rest of the 20th century. After more than 200 years as the nation's capital, Washington has developed as a complex and layered city with a distinctive character, both a town for locals, an international center of power, and an amazing place to visit. Thank you for watching. Please check out our other animations on history, and don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.
Wow, there was a lot of information there. I can't even. I wish I had a notepad. So many thoughts came up. Any thoughts from anybody in the call?
Yep, please unmute and share. You can unmute and share.
Lou, I never heard of the Red Summer. I didn't know
Exactly.
anything about that.
I just
That was
looked that
in
up.
1919.
Yeah, I just looked that up.
Yeah, I
1919. July, what was it? The 19th through the 24th. But at that time, there were already, it spread across the country. That's why it was called Red Summer, because plenty of cities rebelled and had race riots during that time. That's so interesting. I never knew that. That's good stuff again, Lou.
Yeah, no, that's Alex's doing. So you say it was 1919?
1919.
In the district, it was July 19th through the 24th. That's 5 days of hell.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
It's like a purge.
So they snatched people off, black people off streetcars and beat them.
Mm-hmm.
They were in military uniforms and burned the businesses and just beat people in the street.
Do you all probably not many on this call are old enough to remember that? Probably
No,
not.
no,
How about
no,
your
I don't
parents?
think we have anybody that old.
How
No.
about your
According
parents or your
according to
grandparents?
my Yahoo page, that's my age, 1919.
Wow.
I didn't put my real year birth on Yahoo. I got 1919 as my year of birth.
Well,
Don't ask me why I chose-
Bridget, you must have one foot in the grave and the other.
I know that's right.
Uh-huh.
And that one on the banana peel.
Yep.
One foot in the grave and one on the iPad.
Yep, that's my date of birth, 1919.
But hey, I
No,
bet a
she
lot
must
of you.
be an angel.
I am
I
an
bet-
angel.
I wish
I
my
bet a lot of you went through the riots in '68. I wasn't
Oh,
here
yeah.
then.
Oh, yes. Lord have mercy,
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
What was
boy.
that like? Well, those were big riots, right?
Oh
That
boy.
was like a
Yeah.
nightmare.
A nightmare.
Yeah, everybody
It was
had
a
on their
real
windows. I
nightmare.
remember they wrote on their windows in
God.
white shoe polish, "I'm a soul sister, I'm a soul brother."
Thinking
They
that
put
was
that-
gonna save them.
Uh-huh.
Well, yes, I participated in the riots, and I tell you today I'm ashamed because I was out there stealing.
Hey, go ahead, Diane.
Everybody,
I'm serious.
everybody else,
Hey, man.
everybody
I
else was
feel
getting
I
stuff.
feel ashamed because I was old enough to know better, and my parents taught me not to steal. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was old enough to know better.
Well, I have a scar on the top of my head because somebody hit me with a Coke bottle and I was trying to shield my baby.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
and he called me a white bee and tried to snatch me out the car. So I was
Oh my
very
gosh.
upset.
Where did that happen? What
On
part of town?
14th Street, just above Park Road.
Oh my gosh.
I was in a cab, leaving my job.
Oh my. I heard it was really tough along H Street, right?
Oh,
In
it
Yes.
was because I
Yes.
live near 8th Street and they burned, I mean, they just burned 8th Street down.
Wow.
It just got refurbished in the last 20 years.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Couple
last 10
years.
years, really. Last
All
10
this
years.
time.
Trump
is getting ready to tear everything down now.
Well,
8th Street was almost abandoned up until, 12 years ago.
yeah.
Yep.
I wanted to say that Lee Florist is one of the shops that was there at the
That's
time, 75
right.
years
Yeah.
old. And when you're ordering flowers, think about Lee Florist, which is at right there on U Street.
Yeah.
It's been there over 75
It
years.
sure
and
has.
It's 1026 U Street. And on the 28th, when we're boycotting the companies that are doing away with DEI, remember to order your flowers throughout
Yeah.
the year from Lee Florist. It's a wonderful, wonderful, Black-owned, family-owned flower shop. And we so often forget about them, but they
Yeah.
were there in 1968.
Oh, thanks for sharing.
Uh,
Was
uh,
it
Yeah,
it
and his
also along U
grandchildren
Street?
own it now.
Yes,
His granddaughter's running it.
1026 U Street.
Yeah, it's right there at 11th and
11th
U.
and U.
11th
And you know
U.
what? Another business that survived was Ben Chili Bowl.
Bo.
Mhm.
They survived
Oh,
it too.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But do think about Lee Florist and give them your business.
Yes.
Yeah.
In 68, I was 17 years old, junior in high school. And the city got so crazy from each quadrant of the city, it didn't matter.
Mhm.
Wow.
They sent in the National Guard, and the National Guard took over our gym
Oh my
as
God.
their bivouac. That's
Mhm.
where they slept during the riots. But you could go in each quadrant of the city. I was in Southeast at the time, and Wheeler Road goes across Southern Avenue into PG County. After things were burned down, closer down the hill, heading toward Alabama Avenue, there was a Highs that was there. There were grocery stores along the top of Wheeler Road. But when the crowd was headed to Prince George's County to cross Southern Avenue, came to an abrupt halt. PG had the tanks and the troops sitting out there waiting.
They sure did.
In other words, you're not going to tear PG County, but
Mhm.
DC got tore up from the floor up.
Oh my gosh.
I was 8, and I remember standing on the hill on Martin Luther King Avenue, and we actually lived in Southwest, and there's a playground called Fort Greble.
Yep,
And
on
we
the
all went
hill.
up to Fort Greble and looked across the water, and we can see the glow of the fires.
That's why you see the fireworks there to this day.
Yep,
On that hill at Fort Greble.
Fort Greble.
But wasn't King Avenue still Nichols Avenue at that time?
Yes,
It was
Yes, it
Nicholas
was.
Avenue.
Yeah, it
Right.
was Nicholas Avenue.
It wasn't MLK yet.
No,
No.
it was
Mm-mm.
not.
Well,
And they had the National Guard over there where the parking lot is, where the market is on Benning Road, across from Spengon. And they were stopping the buses, and they were having the buses let people off because it had gotten so bad on Benning Road going up towards Minnesota Avenue, and the National Guard was taking people home in their Jeeps.
oh my gosh.
And that was real scary because the Jeep is open and they had crazy people running up and down the street.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it got real stupid, Lou.
Oh, I'm real stupid, honey.
The best thing I saw, this is the last thing I gotta say. Not I can say it was the best, but the one I remember the most, I was at the bus stop down on 10th and Penn, where the A2 bus would take you to Southeast. There was a line of stores across the street. There was a Waffle House, a DJ Kaufman, a couple of other clothing stores and furniture stores. Suddenly this big truck came down the street and it turned and it backed right through the window of DJ Kaufman, the men's store. And I turned to look, and I'm telling you, in less than 3 minutes, they emptied everything off of every rack in that store and that truck was gone. So, Diane, I agree with you. The looting got stupid because we burned down our own stores. We had to go further out to get supplies and everything. So going crazy during the ride, you gotta draw the line somewhere. But it wasn't drawn in '68. Everybody was just crazy.
Wow. Thank you all for sharing. Alex, maybe we ought to have a program just on this because it's, clearly it's burning all of our, all of the folks who've been there and their memories still.
Yeah, I was 8 years old when all that stuff was going on.
I was 19.
Yep, it made a dent in my memory.
Man.
All right, folks. Well, yeah, Alex, let's put that on our Rolodex to do a program just on the riots, if you're okay about that. In Detroit, we had our riots in '67, and the city burned similarly. The skies glowed red at night, and they now call it the insurrection. They don't even call it the riots anymore. Does DC do anything like that? Do they call it? They still call it the riots, or is there another?
They call it the riots.
They call
as
it the
far as
riots?
I know.
Okay.
They didn't call it an insurrection.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for sharing. Let's maybe it's not insurrection. It was like a revolt. The term I'll look it up. I'll look it up. It's almost like a holiday in Detroit because it was like an uprising. Anyway, it sounds very similar like in DC.
Well, what caused you all's uprising? It was in '67, the year before King got shot. That's what caused our riots.
The city was really afraid that it was going to happen again in '68, but it didn't. Ours was I can get a speaker on this. A good friend of mine was right there right when it started. It was an improper arrest of a black gentleman on 12th Street in downtown Detroit. And there was a lot of unrest about police mistreating, especially African Americans in the city. And then all of a sudden there was this one incident that happened in a bar, and the whole city just blew up. And but it began. And I've got a friend who was a cop, and he was shot during that thing. And he was interviewed. He's on television talking about how those riots started. And then it just went through the whole city. And we lived on the northwest side at the time, and we had people in the alleys bringing TV sets and all kinds of crazy stuff. I was only 7 at the time. I was 9. And then but what was sticking out to me, I didn't see it. My dad told me about it. Is the National Guard went down Woodward Avenue, which was the main street going into Detroit, in tanks, and they were getting sniped, a lot of sniper fire. So the tanks were just leveling buildings like one after the other. Instead of trying to kill the sniper, they destroyed the whole building, and they just shelled the building. And they went down Woodward Avenue just shelling the buildings until the snipers, were all eliminated. And then it was like martial law for a long time. But I know they were really afraid. I remember that in '68, after Dr. King was killed, that the same thing was going to happen again. But the city was just decimated at that point, and it never came back. It was a much more integrated city back in '67, and that's when it really, really created a racial divide as far as where people lived. And anyway,
But
it
have
sounds
they,
like
do you think, Lou,
yeah.
out of all these things, do you think the people actually have learned anything? Because they're still doing the same identical thing. They're still treating Black people discriminatory, and they're still killing them indiscriminately. So do you think they actually learned anything? I mean, we had the Rodney King riots, we had the George Floyd riots, we had
I
Trayvon
was in the
Martin.
white riot.
Huh? Oh yeah. Then the insurrection of the government. So do you think they really learned anything? Or do you think that violence is the answer for peace for a little while?
Yeah, I
Ask,
wish
ask Mr. Trump.
that's above my pay grade. I can't figure it out.
But I mean, when you think about it, after the riots, you got a real sense of peace afterwards. Nobody's doing anything.
Well, it's just like you're so worn out, you know. Right? Is that? I bet it was same in DC. You're just like everybody's a zombie.
mentally spent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very bad thing to think about, but if you think about all the other countries all over the world, they go through the same thing too.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
never would think that we would have it here, but we do. We have it in smaller pockets, but it happens the same all over the world. You got Thailand and Vietnam and Saigon and all those African countries that had all their issues, and they're fighting
yeah.
amongst each other. They the same people. They the
Yeah.
same race. Okay? But
It's always something that divides them. Like in Rwanda, it was genocide between the tribes. It's like people are looking for something to separate themselves. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Whether it's-
and they were all Black.
Yeah, I want
right.
to see all the videos. We better move on, Lou. I'd like
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Such good conversations.
Washington, D.C.
Sorry about that. Great conversations, folks. Sorry about that.
I'm going on mute.
Okay, I always welcome you guys to tell me that. I get distracted. Okay, so let's learn a little bit about the American Civil War Memorial. Here we go. The African American Civil War Memorial. Here we go. Now, Alex, can you give us some background on this video? I'm not that familiar with it.
Can't hear anything, Lou.
Oh, you can't hear it?
Can't hear the video, Lou.
Okay, hold on. Let me work on that. I'm not sure why.
I can hear it. I can hear it.
You're good. It was on me. Thank you so much.
We strive together for a common cause. And this powerful memorial will be a lasting reminder that the values of the U.S. colored troops struggled to preserve more than a century ago must still be defended today.
Yes, I think this is a blessing. We have been praying for this, and God has delivered it to us today.
It represents a whole lot that these guys are finally getting due respect that they should be getting after so many years of being forgotten. And we done on these uniforms for the rights they didn't have, we now do have because of their sacrifices.
You don't feel it. Oh yeah? No, you don't feel it. You'll feel it at the beginning.
from all over the United
Oh,
States.
it's just wonderful, and we appreciate the fact that they did this, that we could come here, and it would give us a chance to march in their place when they were not able to celebrate after the war.
It brought a new consciousness to me that these men, having made the sacrifice that they did, and under the circumstances that they were under, you know, dying and having the foresight, knowing that something was going to change in the future, not knowing what that something was going to be.
All right. Well, I'm not familiar with that. Anybody recall that? Or anybody been there?
Yeah, it's on 10th and U down by Vermont.
10th and U. Okay. I've
That's
got to
in
get out there.
Northwest. That's in Northwest.
10th and U. Okay. I'm gonna go. So is there a park there or something?
There's a
No,
there's a video on this one as well.
It's like a little triangle or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's
I'm gonna try
very
to track
good.
that.
I've been there a couple of times.
I'm gonna have to track that
a
down.
memorial every year. They have a program every year. I forget
Okay.
when it is, but it's listed.
Well, thanks for sharing. Let's jump into Constitution Gardens here. Sorry, I'm going a little fast because I got to make up for some lost time.
In the bustling heart of Washington, D.C., a serene oasis awaits visitors at Constitution Gardens.
I never heard of these
50-acre
places.
park is a living legacy to the founding principles of the United States, offering a tranquil retreat amidst the nation's most iconic monuments and memorials. Established in
That's a
1965,
duck pond.
National Mall and Memorial
Where
Parks
is that?
protects some of the oldest
On the
parklands
other
within
side of the
National Park
monument.
System, and Constitution Gardens is a
I know there's a
crucial part
beer.
of
There's
this
a beer
revered
garden
park
down
system.
there. I've been there
As
many
you meander
times.
along the winding
Is that where the
paths
beer
that lead
garden
through
is?
vibrant greenery,
I
you'll
don't
be
know what a beer
surrounded by
garden is, but
picturesque
it's
No, 'cause I
landscapes
don't
that
drink.
evoke
by
a sense
the
of peace and
Vietnam
tranquility.
Memorial.
The
It's that little
gardens feature
lake that's
landscaped
beautiful.
islands,
Oh,
meadows,
oh, it's
and a
Yeah.
down
reflective
there.
pond,
Yeah,
Okay.
right
creating an
there.
ideal setting for reflection and
Okay.
relaxation.
I guess I just didn't know what it was
Visitors
called.
often lounge by the water, capture scenic views
Yeah, I used
with
to
their
take my
cameras,
kids down
or
there to
enjoy
feed the duck.
picnics in this historic setting. While
And it's
peace
an
and
island in
tranquility
the
are the
middle of that
hallmarks of
thing.
Constitution Gardens, it's also a place of engagement and education. The Junior Ranger program offers an excellent opportunity for young visitors to learn about the natural surroundings, historical significance, and preservation of this important national space. By participating, children can earn their Junior
That's
Ranger
the lake.
badges, fostering a
It's
sense of
beautiful.
stewardship for the nation's
And they
natural
got
and historical
those
treasures.
stones have some
Washington,
names on them.
D.C.'s diverse
I don't know
seasons
what they
bring
are though.
different
At
charms
the
to
time.
Constitution Gardens. Spring blooms with mild weather, perfect for strolls along the pond. Summers are
So
warm
where is it?
and
like
lush,
23rd
ideal
and
for enjoying the
Constitution, like
shade
but
of the
down
garden's
on the other
majestic weeping
side?
willows.
On the
No,
west
Autumn
like
side?
tints the
7,
leaves in hues
17th
of
and
orange and red,
Constitution.
offering a cool and
17th
Between
refreshing backdrop
17th,
for reflective
between
walks. Winter,
17th
although
and
colder,
20th.
provides its own quiet charm,
Between
covered in a
so
blanket
that's
of
where
snow.
the
beauty
the
of
World War II
Constitution
memorial
Gardens
is.
is not only felt,
Yeah, it's
but
before
seen
you
in the
get to the
imagery
World War II
captured by
Memorial,
visitors.
between the
A shot of
monument.
the garden pond with the
Okay.
majestic Washington Monument in the background showcases the juxtaposition of natural beauty and human achievement. Joggers and
And you
bicyclists
can
on
get
the
free
path
parking
provide
down
a
there.
snapshot of daily life and activity
Yeah,
that
that's where
takes
I always
place in the
park. You're
gardens,
right.
while a
I park
weeping
along
willow
there when I
tree
see the
elegantly
fireworks and
frames the
stuff.
Washington Monument in the distance, offering a tranquil perspective on this
Where is that? I
bustling
can't believe
historical
it. I've never
setting.
seen that.
Every view of Constitution Gardens is a reminder of the balance between the nation's past, present, and natural environment. It
That
stands
island
as a
has a lot
testament
of
to American
ducks.
history, while simultaneously
So if I was
providing
going
a
to get
space
there, I
for
would park on
wildlife, plants, and
Constitution
people
and
to come
where? You
together
said
in the
like
present
around
day. In the
Between
heart of the nation's
17th and
capital,
20th.
Constitution
between
Gardens
17th and
continues to
20th.
be a
Okay,
unique
and then I
feature
just
in the
walk
national
in the
park
mall
system,
area
a
towards
place
the
where
reflecting
history and
pond.
tranquility meet,
No,
offering a
if you
restorative
park
experience for all
on
who
the
visit.
side of
Learn
Constitution,
more at
the park is
mustdothings.com.
right there.
Be sure to
All you
subscribe
do
for
is walk
many more
into the
inspiring videos
trees.
about national parks.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that, Alex. I'm not familiar with that location. Any other thoughts about that? All right, let's do the next one.
In the bustling heart of
Whoop, not that one.
Lou, there was 2 videos for the memorial we did before. If you have time, please go back to that one. That one.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Sorry, I get a little confused sometimes. Oh my gosh, look at all these back here. Whoa. Is this going right? Am I going the wrong way?
Yeah, Lou, there's quite a few. There's quite a few that you just went through. Keep going.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so was it this one right here I didn't play?
Yes, Lou, if you would like.
Okay, I'll do little short snippets. Sorry, folks, I'm getting a long-winded here.
David Shaw here with another off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., come visit my site, offtherecordtours.com. Let's go. Well, today I'm on U Street, the heart of the historic African American experience in Washington, D.C., and this is the perfect site for the African American Civil War Memorial. Now, before we start, let's be clear about this. The Civil War was about one thing and one thing only. That's slavery. It wasn't about states' rights or taxation or tariffs. It was about slavery. And let's be clear about another thing also. While enslaved people may have been forced to labor on behalf of the rebel army, none ever joined the rebel army and fought for their cause. Over 200,000 African American soldiers and sailors served in the Army and Navy during the Civil War. Their service is remembered here. They helped end the war and free over 4 million enslaved people. There were 175 regiments of United States colored troops. First recruited in 1863, they constituted around 1/10 of the Army. They fought valiantly and disproved the claims of African American inferiority and laid the groundwork for the fight for civil rights, voting rights, and freedom rights that continue to this day. On these walls are the names of 209,145 soldiers of the United States colored troops, 7,000 white officers, and about 2,100 Hispanic surnames. Although their names are not listed here, this place also honors approximately 20,000 Civil War era sailors. The Navy was not segregated, so their names are harder to find. Ed Hamilton is the sculptor inscribed at the base. Civil War to civil rights and beyond. So come on down to U Street. Eat over at Ben's Chili Bowl. Check out the wonderful murals on the walls, but come over here to remember.
Sorry, folks. My mistake.
Remember those who fought for their freedom and fought to free all of us from America's original sin.
Well, that was great.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that.
That was very, very good, Alex. Thank you for that. Let's jump in. I'm going to have to move real fast here. Here we go.
And today, after years of waiting, a former president is getting a major monument in the nation's capital. The Dwight D. Eisenhower Memorial is officially opening to visitors on the National Mall, joining the likes of Washington, Jefferson, and Lincoln. The new monument is prompting a closer look at Eisenhower's legacy and comparisons to President Trump. Devin Dwyer has a closer look.
As the sun rises over Washington, Dwight Eisenhower is seen in a new light, a new shrine to an American icon and kind of leadership the nation hasn't seen in generations.
34th president and Supreme Allied Commander in World War II. And that is what this represents.
Dwight D. Eisenhower this week becomes just the 7th American president with a dedicated memorial near the National Mall. Architect Frank Gehry says his design is meant to remind us that ordinary Americans can do great things.
It's possible that there are people like that living with us that can rise to the occasion given the opportunities. And it can come from anywhere, from any race or culture.
You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike.
He oversaw desegregation of the U.S. military and public schools, sending the National Guard into Little Rock in 1957 to enforce integration. He signed into law early protections for voting rights, but critics say his push for equality wasn't strong enough. Eisenhower favoring an incremental approach to racial justice that was later overtaken by an eruption of racial unrest after he left office. And toward gay and lesbian Americans, Eisenhower authorized discrimination in 1953, signing an order to ban them from the government. The memorial has prompted fresh contrast between a bygone Republican president and the current one.
Great leaders prepare for every eventuality.
And Dwight Eisenhower there appearing in a 2020 campaign TV ad by the Republican group, the Lincoln Project. Diane, Dwight Eisenhower may have left office nearly 60 years ago and been a Republican from a different age, but a lot of members of the party are still nostalgic for a kind of leadership they say is not in the White House right now. Diane?
Hey, let me continue on because we're gonna have to move quicker. I have no idea where that one is either. Anybody know? Anybody ever see that?
I've been there to Frederick Douglass House.
Oh no, not that one. The previous one, the Eisenhower.
Oh,
one.
Eisenhower.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen
Yeah.
it.
I think it's down there by off of Independence Avenue. Right
Avenue.
across
Yeah, exactly where it is.
It's off Independence. Okay.
from, like 4th and Independence or 5th and Independence or something like that.
All right. Well, let's see about the Frederick Douglass House. Here we go.
He rose from slavery to freedom and rags to riches. In the 6th installment of my series on some of the region's most notable collections, we take you inside of the Frederick Douglass House in the district, where the renowned abolitionist did much of his inspirational work.
You pretty much entertain one another through music, what we deem as modern day karaoke. So Mr. Douglass was a self-taught violinist. He actually taught his grandson how to play the violin.
Curator Kamal McLaren is describing what used to take place inside the family parlor of the Frederick Douglass House. Located high up on Cedar Hill in southeast DC, the home is a little-known treasure trove of history.
The furnishings really reflect his taste. Mr. Douglass was a conscious collector in many ways. Something that looks simple to us really had deeper meaning and appreciation on the part of the Douglass family, particularly Mr. Douglass. He purchased certain objects throughout the home to really reflect his wealth. Also, the home itself today is really and the estate is also the embodiment of him sort of loving nature, communing with nature here on the actual property.
Douglass bought the foreclosed property for his first wife, Anna Murray, back in 1877 for $6,700. Following her death, he remarried Helen Pitts and lived in the home until his death in 1895. His rise from slavery to a self-made businessman made him a much sought-after lecturer and writer. It also made him quite wealthy.
He actually would make most of his money giving lectures and speeches, but he actually owned several different properties as far as Baltimore to Tacoma Park, Maryland.
And his wealth in today's terms when he passed away would be about what?
He would be pretty much a multi-millionaire. Last time I did the conversions, we're talking about $4.3 million.
From Douglass's antique printing press to a hand-carved Haitian rocking chair, much of the memorabilia is priceless by today's standards.
So now we're standing in Mr. Douglass's bedroom, in which you have many original objects that belong to Mr. Douglass, such as his Panama hat, his vest, and his shoes, reflecting his summer attire. You'll see his gloves, his handkerchief, and as we sort of move around, you'll see his nightshirt and his original bed here.
Even today, the view of the nation's capital just off of Douglass's bedroom is breathtaking. Douglass made a series of additions to the home, and by the time of his death, he had converted it into a 21-room mansion. But the most prized of all rooms is the study of the famous abolitionist, where he would spend up to 5 hours a day.
What you have is an original desk that Mr. Douglass had here in our collection. This interesting chair has an interesting footnote in history. This is one of the original chairs from the House of Representatives, dating all the way back to 1857. Many books from his original book collection. He would actually press flowers in books. So we suspect that he probably used that to actually press flowers, but he also made several different copies of different letters that he might have sent out to friends and family. This home really is a sort of a mecca or a pilgrimage for many individuals. They really have a strong connection to Mr. Douglas's ideals in terms of universal justice for many causes. And so when people come here, they're really moved, and they really sort of begin to see themselves through the tangible material culture as they walk through the home. And really it's just the idea of, if he can do it, I can do it.
And if you'd like to visit the Frederick Douglass.
Wow. So any comments on that? Has anybody been there on the call?
Okay, once again, I'm talking up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
we hear you. Go ahead.
This is Bridget Jonell. Now you can't really visit there at random. Now you got to make an appointment.
Oh, okay. And why is that? Because it was too crowded, or why is that?
I don't know. It's probably has something to do with funding, but I don't know. I've taken all my granddaughters there when they were little, and my children.
Well, tried to stop the parade last week, but it went on anyhow. It was very interesting, and they were busing people to the house for tours last weekend. That was their Black History program.
Yeah, I didn't know that he was a violinist.
Oh yeah.
And how did they hold on to all his stuff? I mean, usually that stuff's all over the place. That's amazing.
It smells good when you go in there. It smells like lemon pledge.
Did the house stay in the family? Is that why they retained everything still?
Yes.
Okay. But now it looks like it's run by the National Park Service, because those are all national park people.
Yes, yes. I like the idea of pressing flowers in your books. That gives me some ideas.
Yeah, that was a nice gizmo. Did you see that press? That was cool. All right, well, we got to move quick. Here we go. Alex is going to get on my case here in a second. Korean War veteran. Okay, this one I've seen.
The Korean War Veterans Memorial was dedicated on July 27, 1995, exactly 42 years after the war ended with an armistice. It commemorates the approximately 50,000 Americans who died in Korea and the 1.7 million who served there during the war. The war was never formally declared. The Korean conflict, as it is sometimes euphemistically called, lasted from 1950 to 1953.
I'm going to stop there. Has anybody fought in that war who's on this call? Nobody? How about anybody's parents? Okay,
my godfather and my uncle.
Godfather and uncle?
My cousin fought in it, Lou.
Who did?
My brother fought in the Korean War.
Oh, my.
My cousin.
Any stories anybody heard from them?
No. My cousin and I have a friend that's still living fought in it.
Still living in Korea?
No, he's living in the United States.
Oh, okay, okay.
I didn't know 50,000 Americans died. Wow.
Yeah.
I would ask my brother questions about it, but he refused to discuss the war with me.
Yeah.
He didn't want to talk about it once he came back home.
Yeah, that was those generations that didn't talk much about it.
My uncle said it was terrifying that they were short people, and they would get in the trees, and they would use machetes and cut off people's body parts getting out of the tanks.
Oh my gosh.
And that's why we lost a lot of Americans, because we weren't used to those tactics.
Right. Oh my gosh.
My brother taught us, he knew how to sing some songs, and he would sing for us in that language. And he'd speak phrases, and he said they gave him the name of Watashi.
Watashi?
Watashi.
I like that name.
Watashi. That's what they called him while he was there. I forgot what he said it interprets into, but that's what they called him.
But it's called Watashi.
They called him Watashi. That was a nickname they gave him. while
If
he was
anybody
getting
wants to
hooked up.
Google that on the call right now, maybe you'll tell us what it means before we leave. Watachi, Watache, right?
I don't know how you spell it. You just would say what we call him Watash. We cut it short.
With
Call
all
it
the maybe we'll find it. All right, that's next one here. Mary McLeod. This I don't know about. Here we go.
Mary McLeod Bethune was a history maker. Born in 1875 in South Carolina to former enslaved parents, she dedicated her life's work to advocating for racial, gender, education, and housing equality. Throughout her legacy, she founded a number of local and federal organizations, including the one we are visiting today, the National Council of Negro Women. Welcome back to another episode of Who Lives Here? A Case for Equal Space. When Bethune decided to launch the National Council of Negro Women in 1935, she had already accomplished a significant amount of achievements to support the Black community. In the face of segregation, she founded Florida's Daytona School for Negro Girls in 1904, which we now know today as Bethune-Cookman University. And after the passage of the 19th Amendment, she mobilized voter registration groups to encourage Black women to vote in the 1920s. She also served as the president of activist Mary Church Terrell's National Association of Colored Women from 1924 to 1928. She knew there was still more work to be done to ensure Black women had an equal place in America. The National Council of Negro Women opened as a cohort of Black women organizers and leaders who presented a collective national voice against oppression and racism. As the organization grew and expanded and gained respect, Bethune established a national headquarters right here in Washington, D.C. within the Logan Circle neighborhood. It was this red brick townhouse that was purchased by Bethune as the first headquarters of the council. And from the years of 1943 to 1966, the house played a prominent role in the advancing of the causes of Black women around the country. It provided a meeting space for members to discuss pivotal national events, like the integration of the military, which Bethune helped when she advocated for when she became a recruiter for the Women's Army Corps, and all.
Well, I'm going to keep moving. Anybody ever been there, Mary McLeod Bethune Council House?
There's a statue of her. There's a statue of her in Lincoln Park, Northeast.
Oh, wow. Where are those houses at? That almost looks like across from the White House. Where is that?
Her house is in Logan.
I passed by it several times, but
Yeah,
I
the
don't. house
is in Logan Circle.
Okay.
Yeah, Logan Circle.
Logan
Yes.
Circle. Okay, I'm going to have to watch out for that. All right, I got to keep moving, folks.
You need
Ooh! Ooh! I found the song, folks. We got to play the song. Alex, you got the song queued up? Let's back it up. Rock Creek Park.
In the park.
We found the song. I found the song last week.
Doing it at the dock.
Oh, yeah.
We got it. Alex, do you have it? Can we play
All right,
it quick?
Washingtonians.
Play it while we're doing the trivia?
There's the link at the bottom, Lou.
Oh, there is.
It is a refuge, a sanctuary for man and wildlife, a way station in the migratory life of America's birds. It was a battleground and a place of healing. Its flowing waters have run since before America was born. It is
This is so
1,700
good.
acres in the heart of the nation's capital that can transform you.
Rock Creek Park is this ribbon of green that winds its way through the city that not only, in a way, bisects the city, but actually brings the city together. People want to come into this wonderful green space that provides for an escape from the daily city life.
But this space might have been lost forever. In the late 1880s, Rock Creek was in danger of destruction. As the city of Washington expanded, urban sprawl threatened to swallow up the creek. Congress saved it in 1890 by making it one of the first national parks.
For those early founders, that pushed for the legislation for the passage of Rock Creek Park, They did foresee into the future a time in which this would be one of the very few green spaces left within the District of Columbia.
The city was forced to grow around the park. It would become a natural oasis within an urban and mechanical world. Unlike other contemporary parks, like New York's Central Park, Rock Creek was not planned or landscaped. It is preserved in its natural state, allowing people to step into the wildness of nature. The park has become a refuge for people in all stations of life. In 1926, a heat wave hit the area. With temperatures hovering around 104 degrees, DC residents flocked to the cooling water of the creek to refresh body and soul.
Today, Rock Creek Park continues on in that history of serving as a land for refuge, for solace, for contemplation, recreation, for entertainment. And we can offer it in so many different varieties. It's all encapsulated in this beautiful little stream valley right in the heart of Washington, D.C.
This WETA Extra is presented by the Morris and Gwendolyn.
Well, that was wonderful. Any comments on that? Alex, do you have the song queued up?
No, I don't have it queued up, Lou.
Okay, I'll do some research. All right, Alex, I think that's it. So take it away. Sorry, I went a little bit off script today.
That's all right.
And by the Park Foundation.
But it was
a lot, and I really appreciate y'all coming on. Yes, we got to make sure we get this trivia done so we can make sure we give two of you all a WildTech fridge magnet. So again, we appreciate your participation today. While I pull up our trivia, again, I'll be taking the first three answers for each question. So let's all practice raising our hands in Zoom. You can click on reactions at the bottom and then tap on raise hand. So again, I would like everyone in Zoom to please raise their hand. Again, love to hear many different voices, many different folks on. So you, again, just by answering a trivia question correctly, you're in the running for a prize. So again, please looking for a lot of participation for our trivia. Thank you. All right, you guys. Can I see we have 3 hands, 4 hands? We have about 20 folks in the call. Okay, we have 4 folks in the call raising their hand. Again, looking for some more hands, hit reactions at the bottom, and then you can click on raise hand. And just by raising your hand, providing an answer to our multiple choice questions, you can be in the running for a WildTech fridge magnet. Okay, thank you so much. I see our hands. I really appreciate that. You make sure you hit lower at the bottom. Again, once you're called on and once you provide your answer, don't forget to mute yourself just so everyone is able to hear each other. Okay, so again, thank you so much, you all, and we're gonna go and get started. So we're gonna, I handpicked these questions, so again, I hope you guys enjoy. Some things we talked about today and some general DC questions. So good luck to all. Okay. Our first question is number 1 right here. All aboard. We begin our tour at the Lincoln Memorial on the shore of the Potomac. What architect designed this memorial? Was it James Hoban, Pierre Lafont, Henry Bacon, or Frank Lloyd Wright? Again, please raise your hand if you'd like to answer. Taking the first 3 hands. First 3 hands. What architect designed the Lincoln Memorial? So you have 2 hands. Okay. Again, we have 1 hand, 2 hands, looking for 1 more hand. Okay, again, 1 more hand. All right, I see our first 3 hands. Thank you so much. Diane, what do you think it is?
Lafont.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, and then Anne, what do you say?
Henry Bacon.
Okay, all right. And then we got Miss Carolyn. Thank you so much. What do you say?
Franklin Lloyd Wright.
Okay. All right. So we got different answers for that one. Let's see who is right. We'll know at the end. So thank you so much. And don't forget to lower your hand once you've answered, okay? All right. So number 5, we're going to go here. A few doors down is the National Museum of African Art, which is dedicated to the works of traditional African artists. One of the exhibits, the ancient Nubian city of Kerma, features 40 art objects of Kerma, which was known to the ancient Egyptians as Kush. In what modern-day African nation is this city located? Is it Egypt, Kenya, Libya, or Sudan? And Google is your friend. Utilize your resources. Taking the first 3 hands for this question. In any takers? In what modern day African nation is this city located? Okay, we got 1 hand, 2. We need 1 more hand. Okay, thank you so much. All right, Gracie, what do you say for this one?
Sudan. I'm not sure, but I think.
Okay, and that's okay. Hey, again, looking for lots of hands. I think I unmute Miss Carolyn. What do you say?
Kenya.
Okay, all right. We got Kenya, and then we had Miss Brenda. What do you say?
Egypt.
Okay, wow. Okay. Guys are surprising me today. Let's see who gets it at the end. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, again, first 3 hands. Make sure you raise your hand, even if it's just a guess, okay? Just to keep it, look your mind or your eyes on that participants list. Number 9, at the foot of the Capitol lawn, there is a memorial to this U.S. president dedicated in 1922. At the foot of the Capitol lawn, what memorial is it? Who's this memorial dedicated to? Theodore Roosevelt, Andrew Jackson, James Madison, or Ulysses Grant? Again, a little more challenging because some of these we didn't talk about today, but I know you guys are going to do great. All right, I see we have our 3 hands. Okay, Miss Brenda Thompson, what do you say?
Andrew Jackson.
Okay. All right. Miss Brenda McManus, what do you say?
Grant.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. And then we had Mr. Ronald. What do you say?
I say Grant too. I'm sick of Brenda.
All right, Mr. Ronald, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, 2 more. Hopefully next time we can have a little bit of background music. Oops, my bad, you guys. Let's see. Number 21. Okay, let's go to number 21. Driving down 8th Street, we see a 7-acre park directly across from the White House. What is its name? Is it Washington Park, Lafayette Square, Lincoln Square, or Columbus Circle? Okay, I see we have our 3 hands. Okay, Yvonne, what do you say?
Lafayette Square.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ronald, what do you say?
She's right, the famous Lafayette Square.
Okay, and then Anne, what do you say?
Lafayette Square.
All right, that's good. We got 1 more, you guys. So again, please make sure you raise your hand for our last chance to be able to be more or in the running for a prize. We have number 24. Approaching a more residential area, we come to the beautiful National Cathedral at Massachusetts and Wisconsin Avenues. Who was the only president buried here? Is it George Washington, Woodrow Wilson, Abraham Lincoln, or John F. Kennedy? This is our last question, so I'll take the first 3 hands. National Cathedral, who is the only U.S. president buried there? Okay, I see our 3 hands. Okay, Yvonne, what do you say?
Try Woodrow Wilson.
Okay. And the first 3 hands, thank you so much. We got Miss Brenda Thompson. What do you say?
John F. Kennedy.
Okay. All right. And then our last one is Anne. What do you say?
Wilson.
Okay. All right, you guys. Hopefully we'll switch up things next time as well. Again, looking forward to all different responses and good luck to all. Let's see what our correct answers are. So for number 1, the answer is Henry Bacon. So congrats, Anne, you got that. He was commissioned to design a memorial to the 16th president. Yeah, inside the structure, inscribed with Lincoln's second inaugural speech and Gettysburg Address, the steps of the memorial were setting for the I Have a Dream speech in 1963. Okay, so good job, Anne, for that one. Number 5, the answer was Sudan. So good job to you, Gracie. Kerma is the oldest known African city south of Egypt that has been excavated. The collection includes jewelry, ceramics, and ivory animal figures. Good job. Good job. Number 9. Yep, the capital on. The answer was Ulysses S. Grant. So good job to Brenda McManus and Mr. Ronald. You guys got that. The Grant Memorial consists of a 250-long sculpture group designed by Henry Merwin Schradey. The memorial depicts a calm-looking General Grant standing amid a chaotic battle scene with cavalry and an artillery group. Okay, good job. We got 2 more. Number 21, driving out H Street. You all got that. So Yvonne, Mr. Ronald, Ann, good job. Spot has been a popular spot for demonstrators, as it can be seen from the White House. A statue of Jackson on horseback is in the center of the park. Across A Street is St. John's Church, the Church of the Presidents. Who knew, right? Yeah. And our last one is number 24. The only U.S. president buried at National Cathedral was Woodrow Wilson. So good job to Yvonne and Anne. The true building of the name of the building is the Episcopal Cathedral of St. Peter's and Paul. It began in 1907, finished in 90. It features include the 300-foot Gloria in Excelsis Tower, a 53-bell carillon, and a 26-foot high stained glass row window. So again, good job, you guys. You guys got at least one of you got each question correct. So great job. And thanks so much. Lou, while I put these names in, what did you learn from the trivia?
Well, thanks, folks. To be honest, I digress for a moment to check out the name of the riots in Detroit. They're actually called the Detroit Uprising for you trivia fans. And what did I learn from this? I learned a lot. Too much to say in this little time we have.
I definitely agree. There's so much more in the city, even though it's just as, you can drive 30 minutes up and down in good traffic, but there's still so much substance in DC. So hope to do something like this again. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and these are our correct answers for our trivia today. And again, 2 of you will win a Wowtech fridge magnet. So let's see who our first winner is. Good luck to all. Okay, our first winner is Gracie. Congratulations, Gracie.
Yay, Gracie. Congratulations, Gracie.
And our second winner of a fridge magnet today is, looks like Ann Dennis.
Ann, congratulations, Ann.
Thank you so much.
Yay, Ann.
Thank you again. Congratulations, Gracie, and congratulations, Anne. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
today. Thank you so much, and
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex, for putting this all together. Such a rich city, so many sites. It's just amazing where we live, right, folks? And even with everything we just did for the last 2 weeks, we still haven't even scratched the surface.
And there's a lot of things here that we need to do this again. There's a lot of little places that people don't know about.
Oh, I learned a lot, so thank you.
Yeah. During a tour, I was a tour guide from Tourmobile. That's why I know.
And would you consider putting a presentation together maybe someday? Like the hidden places of DC, something like that?
Oh yeah, I could do that. You got to give me a little bit of time. But
Definitely.
Or maybe
something
coordinate with
for
Alex. I think that would be very well attended.
okay, I will
Yes.
definitely coordinate with Alex and do that for you. I would be more than happy and proud to.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what we can do. And let's all say thank you so much to Lou for presenting our session today. Let's
Thank you.
again
Thank you,
next
Lou.
Tuesday at
Thank
12.
you,
What's
Lou.
up with
Thanks,
that hat, Lou?
Alex.
Enjoyed it.
All right,
Thank
thanks
you, Lou.
everybody.
Hello.
I want to know where
Lou.
you get that hat from, Lou.
Thank you so
See
much,
my goat?
Lou.
My goat's hiding up there. See my goat? Right there.
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
it. Oh.
Have a great day. See you all at 1:30. Thank you so
All
much.
right. See y'all.
So
Picture
let's
behind.
all say thank you to Lou, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Lou.
Alex. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Lou.
everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Bye,
That's the goat
everybody.
for me.
Bye.
You know? Have a good day.
All right,
Okay.
bye.
Thank you.